Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me on Their Fight Story. My name is Igdalia, your host, and I have a guest today that will be giving us an insight on dating and relationship. Hector Cruz, dating and relationship coach.
Hey guys, thanks
Hector,
you for
welcome.
having me.
Thank you.
It's a
Give us
pleasure to be
a
here.
little background about yourself so people.
So I'm a dating relationship coach. I started back in 2018. I went to Framingham State University, and I got so fascinated with behavior, starting off in psychology, that it's just kind of like branched out into different areas. And first, it was neuroscience, then it was biology, there was behaviorism, but then I just started like seeing people date and how they interacted socially, that I was like, wow, that's really interesting. I wonder why people do that. I started asking myself that question. So that's what really put me in the direction that I am in today.
So, when you started at Framingham State, what was your major?
My major was psychology. It's actually bachelor of science.
Okay.
So psychology was my major, and my minor was philosophy. So it kind of went hand in hand.
Mhm. And when you started this course on, being a coach for relationships and dating, how did it really start? Like what triggered it?
I know it might sound really strange, but I look at life as very probability based. So like I myself and a lot of people have tried to do certain things, and the outcome doesn't always come out the way we want it to. So it made me think, okay, well, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing right? What are the chances? And like I said, probability based. Like, what are the chances if I do this behavior? What can the outcome be? And I think like a lot of times we do things maybe at the wrong time, and then we have an opening later on. But then there are cases where we'll do things repeatedly and it just won't be the way we want it to, because maybe it's that we're doing something wrong, but we're not modifying it. And I think like there's an element to all of it where if we modify the way we do something, we can get a better outcome. And I live by the phrase, you don't have to change who you are, but you should change how you are if things aren't working, if that makes any sense.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Huh?
Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So I learned that myself from my own experiences, and a lot of people have related to me, where we tend to get lost in the people that we commit to. Like when we devote ourselves to a person we really like, we tend to lose ourselves. And when we lose ourselves, we start molding ourselves. Not molding. Let me put it in a better term. We start to act more what they think we should act like.
Hmm.
And that's the element that I'm trying to preserve when I say it's better to like what I'm trying to say is that don't change who you are, but change how you are. So like if you lose yourself, then you kind of feel lost. And then it's like really difficult to get out of that. And for so many years and a lot of different people that I've dated, I tend to lose myself. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why do I keep losing myself? And that's when I got into the whole, dig inside
Hmm.
retrospectively and look inside yourself and see what it is that you're doing that can, I don't know, heighten the percentage of success and lower the percentage of failures, because I was failing relationships or dating or failing, not relationships, but failing that element of love growing. Like I was failing in trying to get love to grow.
Hmm.
Either I was trying too hard, or I was not trying hard enough, or I was overly investing in somebody, or I was becoming clingy, needy. Like I can go on and on with that list.
Hmm.
But I had to figure out what I was doing wrong. And where I'm at right now is that like there are going to be times where you're going to meet the wrong person. But if you're meeting a lot of the wrong person all the time, it's time to look inward. It's time to look back and go, okay, well, am I the problem though? And that was the hardest pill that I had to swallow. And that was the transition that I ended up going in and really looking at this from a psychological standpoint.
Changing, not changing who you are, but how you are. What is the difference between that and over compromising
Um,
for certain things?
well, I think I think well, not we, I can't say all of us, but some of us, we tend to lower our standards and not reinforce our boundaries with people. And when we don't do that, we kind of, we don't live in integrity. You're not living who you are as a person deep down inside, you know, whether it be like you're trying to impress somebody or trying to be something you're not. And I think that happens to a lot of us because, you know, who wouldn't want someone to like you? So you want to be a little different so they can like you, but that's kind of like, that's a kind of a bad thing too, because eventually you end up losing yourself in the midst of it all.
Hmm.
If you're not living in integrity, it just makes it harder to find the right person for you. You end up making poor decisions. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I'm kind of like not understanding the whole not living in integrity. Integrity for yourself or what other people think is integrity.
Well, integrity as in like don't be a sellout to yourself. In the midst of being, you know, you're like if you're a sellout to yourself and you're there to please everybody, you're not living in integrity. You're too busy worried about what everybody thinks and how everybody feels about you, and you're so focused on what they think that you're not really concerned about your own well-being.
Mhm. So
And
stop
that's
being
what,
a people pleaser.
yeah, like a people pleaser. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's just the same. It's like that same thing. Is that if you're so focused on the world, you're never going to be truly happy with yourself. But I
Yeah.
could be wrong in that statement too.
I mean, you're not wrong in the sense that we all interpret things differently, and we all have different perspectives. We all see things differently, we understand things differently, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a matter of being open-minded and listening. Now, things that I have seen is that many people want to be listened to, right? They always want you to hear them out, but then they don't reverse it, so it's like you want me to hear you, but you don't want to hear me. So if you want me to understand your perspective, then hear mine out so you can understand, because there are times that I'm seeing things a certain way and you're not understanding me. But once you see it from my perspective, then you're like, oh, totally get where you're coming from. I understand it. And this is what I was meaning. Like yours, yes, under your understanding and your perspective, yes, you are completely right. But there is this, because we're not looking at an eight. You know how when they see the numbers, oh, from this perspective, it's this, and it's like we're not seeing an eight where no matter which way we look at it, it's the same thing. It's either a nine or a six.
Yeah.
So we have to really take a step back and really listen and view it the way it is. Oh. Another thing is many people want to be heard, but they don't want to hear anybody else, and that's kind of like a tricky and touchy um, subject. And now I know you have on Facebook, and now you just decided to open up a personal one because you were using your personal one as your go-to, which is great. How has that impacted you? Because I sometimes try to engage to get people, active and going, but sometimes I see that people just are stuck in this is how I see it, and nothing's gonna change it. Like nobody is gonna change it. How has that affected your life?
Well, you can't force people to change, and I've learned that the hard way. You know, all you can do is influence them in some way and see if it clicks. And there are a lot of times where people won't look at things through your perspective because they might be guarded towards their dogma. Like everybody has a dogma, and when you challenge their dogma, it doesn't go very well.
Hmm.
And how that impacted me was it taught me to have patience with people and have love for them, even when they're like really edgy and when they're really like aggravated with you, or they didn't like the way you said something. It's like, okay, well, I'm sorry I upset you, but how can I put it so that way we can find, we can make progress in whatever we're doing in communication. And it's just basically taught me patience with people, and every person requires a little more and a little less. So it's just kind of like you kind of gauge them. And as far as like the personal page and stuff like that with the engagements, is I sometimes post and ghost. I call it post and ghost. I say what I'm going to share and see who actually takes that, what I share as utility, and to not worry about who doesn't. If I get like one like, cool, at least one person liked it.
Mhm.
But also too is what I've noticed from my clients and the people that follow me on Facebook is a lot of them don't like my stuff, even though they tell me they can relate to it. So I find that very comedic, and in a sense that like they're like, oh wow, well, you said something the other day that really resonated with me. I'm like, and then why didn't you like it? Oh, I don't know. And I think that maybe there's a fear. Maybe they're afraid that someone might be reading something that they
Mhm.
liked and they might judge them. I had a couple people tell me that right off the bat, that like, oh, my friend's looking at your stuff and I don't want him to think that I'm agreeing with you or something like that. Like the fear of other people's opinions. And I, I, I caught myself going, okay, do I stop posting or do I keep posting? I had to
Mhm.
ask myself that question. So I just said, you know what? I'll keep posting because people are reading it, even if they don't like it.
Yes. One thing that people that maybe they don't is because unfortunately social media has taken over everything, right? I mean, and it's not even unfortunately, it really all depends on how you look at it, because social media could be used for great stuff and at the same time it could be used for bad stuff. So it's really how are you looking at it? Some people will interpret alike as, oh, this person likes me. You know what I mean? And it's just like, no, it's you just made a statement and I'm liking your statement. It has nothing to do with you as a person. It's that. Whereas people be like, oh my God, they like this post. Oh my God, they like that post. Oh my God, he is so into me because he liked my. And it's like, no, 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 no. Let's take a step back. This isn't a dating site, so it's not about that. And it's difficult for some people to like, maybe they want to like it, but then it's like, if I like it, then this person's gonna come and look and judge me or criticize me because they think I'm into, so it's like, oh, this person like Hector's post, which means, oh, that person's into Hector. And it has nothing to do with it. It's like people read too much into things
Mhm.
and it takes away from the actual value of what and why it's been posted.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see that all the time. And I tell people all the time, just because she or he light-hearted your post doesn't mean she wants to be with you and spend the rest
Mhm.
of her life with you or him or whoever. It's like, the one thing I learned in that is focus on frequency.
Mhm.
If you see someone liking your stuff like all day long, like frequency says a lot in a behavior. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to act on an extreme sense where they want to like meet up with you or show up at your job or something like that. But then again, there are scenarios where there's people that like take something, and I'm sure you could agree with me on this one, where they take one little gesture and they completely misinterpret it, and
Mhm.
they use that and just go with it,
Mhm.
and they go to
Exactly.
their extreme, and it's like, oh my god, she smiled at me today. That means I need to like pursue her and ask her for her number and all this. Like it's things that they just take and they go with it and they
Mhm.
shouldn't. It's like
They take it to a whole other
whole nother
level, and it's
level.
what? It's
Yeah.
like we like those commercials when the person's like, "Oh, like this and this," and the person's like, "Oh my god, she's winking at me," and it's like, "No, she has something in her eye. It has nothing to do with you. Like, let's keep it going. Let's move on. It's not, like that's not the case." So yeah, it is a tricky situation. Like for me, I like people's posts and stuff like that, but I also know from a business aspect and the algorithms and stuff, if you like a post, it'll push it,
Yeah.
and people who haven't seen it, it'll bump you up. So now
Mhm.
people get to see it because if you're a friend of mine, they'll say, "Oh, Igdalia like Hector's post." They'll be like, "Oh, what's this?" And then they read it. So it gets people to see your post. But again, if a person dodoesn't know that, they're like, "Oh, why are
I
you
was just
doing
about to
this?"
say, yeah.
And it's just like, oh my gosh, like you're giving me a headache. Like you're making me think more than I have to. It's like, I don't want to, like, there's so much going on, like, that's the least of our worries. How is it that you're able to balance your personal life with this particular field that you are in?
It's a good question. Uh, I think it's because I really do enjoy it. And when you really like something and you do it every day, and it 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 nourishes your soul, you keep doing it, even if it's hard.
Hmm.
And I find human behavior so fascinating that I learn new stuff with my clients all the time.
Hmm.
And it makes me want to learn more. But there are times where it turns into a therapy session where I try not to get that far, where like my clients would be like calling me and they want to talk for hours. And I'm like, that's not what I do. I'm not a therapist. I'm a dating relationship coach. So I'm here to help you with dating and relationship. But I think a lot of people can't separate the two because psychology is such a huge branch.
Hmm.
Like it's huge, and not every psychology is created equal. And I think most people think of psychology as therapy. Oh, you're going to
Hmm.
sit down, talk about your problems and this and that. And then when I talk about dating psychology, they're like, oh, wow, that's has nothing to do with sitting down and talking about your problems.
Oh,
Not even close.
absolutely nothing. But
Nothing.
it does help
It
get you
does help.
to a
Yes.
point where you can understand where they are coming from
Yep.
to, because remember, like, one thing, not remember because I haven't said anything. So one thing that people don't understand is, with dating and relationships, regardless of what it is, your culture has an impact on it.
Absolutely.
So many times, there's like the eye contact, depending on what culture you're in, it's offensive if you make eye contact with a person. In another culture, if you don't look at the person in the eyes, you're being disrespectful. So there's a lot of different things that need to be understood when you're, working with somebody, because that helps you understand the bigger picture. Again, there are times where there is a pattern of abuse or traumas, or anything that can impact, um, the way you see things and view things, where you need to understand it so you can be like, okay, well, this is what I do and I can help you. However, you're going to have to contact another person to help you with the deeper, um, like the foundation part of it. Like, I can help you with the foundation, but there are things that, like rocks and stuff, that you need to address before you can actually get to where you need to be.
Yeah, I see that a lot in at least 70% of my
Mhm.
clients. 70% they have either past relationship traumas from somewhere. And it does become very difficult for me to help them because they're looking at the new person like the old person. And
Mhm.
it's hard. And I try to explain that to them a lot, where it's like this new person's a completely different person. They're not your ex-boyfriend. They're not your ex-girlfriend. They're not the person you were married 5 years ago. They're completely different people. And I think when they struggle to separate the two is when they overlap their old relationship stuff to the new relationship. And I explain to them that when you roll on, I can't say afflictions, but like just things that you went through, expectations and stuff like that, into a new chapter of your life, it makes it harder for you to write that part of the chapter fresh, because you're using old texts from another part of the story, and you're bringing it into the future. And what happens is when we bring old habits or old, things from a last relationship into the new one, it makes it harder for love to grow, because the communication and the connection, it becomes harder to make. I
Mhm.
don't know if I said that right. Like it makes it harder to grow when
Yeah.
you're looking at somebody like the old person.
Well, that's
And
the thing. You look at the person, like, this new person, as the old person, in the sense that there are certain patterns, there are certain things that
mhm,
led up to it. Now, there are times where there are signs,
mhm.
and you have to be careful as to how you handle those signs. Is it a sign, that is making you aware of certain things, or is it causing you a trigger? And like, because there are limits, you know what I mean, as to up to what point am I going to see this as, you know what, this is a process, this is going to lead me to something, or you're completely ignoring all the bad signs because you don't want to blame this person for the pattern that another person had, but there are certain things that you just can't avoid. The pattern is there, this is a red flag. Because some people are like, oh, this is, I don't want to blame them for this, so I'm just going to just go with it because I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, or I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, or whatever it is, the benefit of the doubt. And then at the end of the day, you're there for too long, or you didn't. So at what point, let me ask you this, at what
Okay.
point does a person decide, hey, I'm going to keep going through the valley of darkness, or I'm going to take a step back and let's see what happened? Because if it's meant to be and it's actually something good, it will work out. Whereas if it's something bad and you stay too long into it, you're going to cause yourself more damage.
It's a great question, and it go.
You're welcome.
It's gonna make me look like an asshole, but you should put a time limit on yourself with a person and give them a chance to try to make whatever is going on that's not right right. And but at the same time, it's like I tell my clients too, where you can have hope, but don't be delusional. It's like Albert Adler said it best. He said, follow your heart, but take your brain with you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us follow our heart, but we don't take our brain with us, which puts us in a position of hope where we're hopeful, but we're not seeing what's in front of us, whether it's something that's triggering us, a bad sign that was familiar from a last relationship that you're like, oh, well, I saw this before. And it becomes really hard to make a decision. And also, too, the longer you stay with someone, the harder it is to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, like, when you see people like, oh, no, what is it? My favorite movie. I know it's going to come off really weird. My favorite movie is The Notebook. And I know they're going to look at me like, you're not a guy, dude. Like, you watch The Notebook? What the hell's that? Like, but there's a lot of truth to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of truth where the girl is conflicted emotionally because she likes somebody else, but her heart is left with another person. And it makes it hard for her to make a decision. And my favorite scene in the movie where the guy's like, what do you want? It's like, it's not easy. Like, I don't understand. Like, what do you want? Make a decision. But in her case, it's hard because her heart and her mind are like this. And that's what makes it so hard to make a decision. I didn't mean to digress, but going back to the question in this whole thing was that, like, I would put a time frame on it, give someone a chance, but don't. Sorry, I just had a brain fart. Give them a chance, but look for the signs while you're at it, the warning signs.
Yeah. However, in
Is
this
that,
world that we live in,
like
people
you
have
could.
great actors. Because it's like, yeah, we look at the signs, we look at this, or maybe they don't. I don't know what they're doing. But the point is, they're actors as far as they know how to play the role. They've been doing this for such a long time that they know, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. She's he or she, because it doesn't matter. I'm gonna do this for like 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, and we good. And I'm gonna get her comfortable. I'm gonna get him comfortable to a certain point where they're gonna be so blindsided when everything, because they have the love bombing, and then they have the
Mhm.
breadcrumbs, and they have this and they have that, but they're a professional, so they have all, as a professional, you have all this work, so your time is limited, and you know what I mean. So they know how to play it. It's tricky because now this person is invested, whether it's 1 month, 2 months, 5 months, 6 months, they're invested, not realizing that this person is just playing a game. You know what I mean? So it's difficult because, like you said, if you stay too long, it
Mhm.
makes it difficult to walk away. But if this person knows exactly what they're doing, it makes it tricky. One thing that also I want to point out is that this is not just for dating. It has to happen with any type of a relationship, whether it's business relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's family, friends. You know what I mean? This is something that can be used for anything. Like the five love languages. Like five love languages is not just for a romantic partner. It's allowing you to understand how this person works, what it is, so you can understand them. And this helps with everything in life, any type of relationship.
The five love languages, it was one of my favorite concepts. I call it concepts because there's all different concepts you
Mhm.
can kind of like look in psychology. That was one of my favorites, and I think a lot of us, it's great that you brought that up. A lot of us don't take the time to try to understand the other person. I think a lot of us right now are more about what we want, what I want, what how I want it, and there's nothing wrong with that, but when you're doing that all the time, it takes away the other
Mhm.
person's ability to put love in the bucket that you guys got. And
Lost
because
it.
you're taking and taking and taking, but like eventually they're gonna be like, I don't want to put any more love into this because she's just taking or he's just taking.
Mhm.
And
But isn't that good? Because now you realize that this person isn't how you envisioned. You didn't understand. Because if you're feeding them their love language, you're responding to their love language on whatever level it is.
mm,
You will know if this person is a taker, and you will know if this person wants to give. Because sometimes they don't know how to give because they've always been the one, um, I guess, giving to the other person, so they don't know how to receive it. So at that point, many people are still learning. And when you give the person you are speaking their love language, they can respond to you in
yeah,
an appropriate manner. Now if you're still speaking their love language, and it's just like in everything in life, and they're responding to you in a toxic way, that it's not it. You got to move on and respect them and keep it moving.
there are a lot of people that have given so much, but they gave to the wrong person and they
Mhm.
ended up becoming bitter. And I see
Mhm.
that all the time. And it's not a matter of like I get sometimes I get this sometimes where like, oh, they're toxic, they're this, it's not that they're toxic, they're just not ready. They're not ready to get out there, they're not ready to talk to people, they're not ready to meet somebody right now. That doesn't mean that all hope is lost for that particular person, because I have clients who are toxic. There's nothing like toxic in a manageable sense, not toxic as in like severe psycho, just about like manageable. Like, okay, you do some dumbass shit that makes people feel like threatened or whatever. You got to work on that.
Mhm.
And it takes them a while. Like I was saying in the beginning, I got to have patience with certain
Mhm.
people more than others. And I try not to look at them as all hope is lost. It's hard with some people. You're just like, damn, dude, wow, man, the stuff that you do to people is just, I can't even wrap my head around it.
Mhm.
But then that's another thing too that I've learned in this whole thing is you got to learn to let go and say, I can't help you. And that was hard because I'm very empathetic and I
Mhm.
care about people. And I realized that when you over care for people and you hold on to them for too long, it actually
Mhm.
makes you sick,
Mhm.
especially when they're like that kind of person. It like really does something to you psychologically when you want to help and help and help and help, but they're not taking it.
Yeah. It helps you to determine what it is, because unfortunately we live in this world where everything is toxic. It's labeled toxic.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To the point where people are proud of it.
Yeah.
Like,
I see that
like,
too.
whoa,
Yeah.
what?
That's crazy.
There's nothing cool about being toxic, but the problem is that they've used the word toxic so easily that in every conversation where they think it's okay, where now they're being groomed to think toxic is cool, toxic is okay. Oh my
It's
God, is being
norm.
toxic that whoa, back it up. No, 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 no. That's not it. So when I'm saying like toxic, I'm really using the term the way I think it should be. Like it's not good, because a
Mhm.
toxic person, once you speak their love language, no matter what it is, they're not going to.
Yeah, they're not going. Yeah, it's like the word narcissism. We all have narcissistic traits,
Mhm.
but to be diagnosed as a narcissist, it's a completely different spectrum.
Exactly.
And I think that's why when I say toxic, I say it loosely
Mm-hmm.
in that, like, okay, and manageable. When I say the word manageable, it's like, okay, there's some flaws here we can work with. And that goes into the whole realm that also too that I like to share is there's a difference between someone who's flawed and someone who's damaged. Like I'm talking about damaged goods, where like there is no helping them, and if you try to help them, they will take you down with them.
I think damaged goods is extreme.
Yeah, but that's an
Um,
extreme case. I don't have it often. Like I've had one person that was like a damaged good. I'm talking about like
but you
four
told them they
person.
were damaged
I
goods?
huh?
Did you tell them they were damaged goods?
No.
I was gonna say, I don't
I
understand
said
how.
that there was no matter what route we tried, no matter what method I used, no matter what we did to talk and try to get the ball rolling in the right direction, it was just not happening. And I don't. The word I used with them was, I think you're just stuck in your ways, and I can't work with that. Like
Mhm.
there's no getting into you. There's no like trying to get you to understand any of this. And it's like that goes also too with being fixed, like rigid or bendable. And there are people that you can bend a little bit and you can make progress, but when people are too rigid and too unagreeable, it's really difficult to work with them.
Yeah, I can totally understand about that. Also, it's another thing that you can mention to people. It's that they're just not ready. They are not
Yeah, that was
ready
also too.
because
Yeah.
they people get rushed. Like I don't know who I was speaking to, and I had to take a step back, and I'm like, all right, let me listen to this person, and just wait, because they're not ready. Like they're just not ready to address anything because they've been dealing with people who have attacked them for so long that they don't understand that it takes time. It takes time to process certain things because now when a person has been through certain things in life, their processing isn't the same. And if they've been stuck in there for so long, they'll interpret everything as an attack, and they can't see, they can't hear, they just cannot. So it's like we have to wait until they're ready, and it's kind of like, all right, this is what it is, and listen to them, and you know what, you're right, that I totally get what you're saying. Now, when you're ready, we can definitely work at this, and we can do certain things because many times they want to be heard. They want to be heard a few times, maybe one, two, three, four, five times. Then after that, they're kind of like, "Ah, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready now because you heard me. You for
Yes.
the first time in my life, somebody heard me. They didn't judge me. They didn't criticize me. They didn't do anything. They heard me. And then after that, that's when they become ready. And like you were saying, some people are rigid, some people can bend. It's kind of like um, when I don't know. Like I
Well,
really
the comfort. It's the comfort aspect of it. It's like we all want to be heard in some way, and when we are heard and not just heard but understood, that's why we feel like all the weight's off our shoulders.
hmm
And what you're saying is totally important to someone being able to open up with you.
hmm
And so like, we got 2 ears and one mouth, and we should listen twice as much as we speak. And
hmm
there's some truth. There's a lot of truth to that. And when we listen to people, it's like they just open up.
hmm
They really do just open up when you just listen to what they got to say. And then they go, wow, like, like we were doing, you feel so much better now. Now
hmm
they can trust you because you let them open up.
hmm Yeah, it's so important. And again, and that's in every aspect of life. It's not just for dating. It's for every aspect, every relationship you have. Like with the relationship, with work, if you don't have the time for it, then don't. Because you're going to ruin something beautiful because of it. You're going to either ruin your view of this great job because you didn't have the time to dedicate all of that into it. You're going to ruin this great relationship with a partner, whatever type of relationship, you're going to ruin it because you did not have the time to invest in it. And it's not always money, it's about quality time.
Yep. Man, I see so much, like everything's just coming out of my brain right now where it's like, this is awesome. And there's an element to the dating and relationship thing that I see so often. What now that we're talking about time,
Hmm.
is that everybody likes to skip the love process to just jump into the relationship process. I don't know if you ever seen that, but
Hmm.
like I hear it all the time. Oh, I don't want to waste my time. Oh, I'm going to be, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. If you can't give me that right now, then forget it. It's like love takes time. Connection takes time.
Hmm.
And when these people do this, they're shooting themselves in the foot and missing out on an opportunity that could be something great. I'm piggybacking off on what you're saying.
Hmm.
It's like if you try to rush things, you can ruin a good thing.
Hmm.
And like that could go one of two ways. If you rush it, you can make a poor decision. But if you rush it too, then it takes away the excitement of getting to know that person on a deeper
Hmm.
level.
Yeah.
Um, you know?
My analogies about cars. Don't forget
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. I love them. I love them. It's
It's
great.
just like when you're applying for a car loan because you want this car. Do you know what I mean? And you apply it for it, and if you jump the gun, and you actually could have, been approved for it, and you jumped the gun, you missed a step, you got denied. You know what I mean? And it's just like, oh, but and then you look back, and it's like, all I needed to do was give him this, and I didn't give him that because I was in a rush to get this car loan. I was in a rush to get this car. I got denied and I ruined the whole process because of it.
Well, let's flip the coin on that one. I
Ooh,
love to
flip
use
it.
the. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me flip the coin a little bit here. I love to use the buyer's remorse idea. Is when people rush into love too fast and they end up regretting it later.
Yeah, but you got the lemon law. You just send it back. Hey, that's a great thing for your relationship thing. You said give
You
it time. The lemon law is like a
she
three
said the
month.
lemon law. That was great. I did not see that coming at all. Oh man, but
Can you
that's what I'm
imagine if
saying.
I actually knew about cars?
But that's what I'm saying though. Like sometimes we rush the process, and in that sense, we're like, oh, they're the most amazing thing since sliced bread, and you're falling deeply in love with them, and then all of a sudden, the love, like the honeymoon phase, starts to go away, and you start seeing them for who they really are, and you go, damn, that's not really what I thought this person was, because your perception of what you thought they were in the beginning doesn't match up with the perception of that current time. Like that person is not the same. And I hear it all the time when they're like, "You're not the person you were when I first met you." I think they were. You just didn't want to see it, because we had that the love goggles. Sometimes we get the love goggles and we don't see the flaws when they're in front of our face, and we end up going, "Damn, wow, this kind of sucks," and this person's not what I thought they were, you know.
Yeah.
But also, what you said too is that they're good actors. That's a big one. That's why I tell people be yourself from the
Hmm.
beginning. Because if you're yourself from the beginning, then that's what they can expect from you from here on out, and they can make a decision. But it's so messed up. I think it's so horrible when people try to be on their best behavior the first time they meet somebody just to get them to be in a relationship with them. I'm like, that's so disingenuous.
Well, it's again cars. It's like when you get a car, right? And then they clear the code. They clear the code. They're like, oh, I'm good. I got this. Do you know what I mean? So you go through all the checks, you go through all the, and then you give it time, and then boom, all the codes come back, and it's like, really,
And the check
really?
engine light came on, you're like, what the hell?
I'm like, oh my god, all these beautiful lights are on my car now.
Well,
There's
that's
something
also too. It's like
going.
it's beautiful on the outside, but on the inside, it's garbage. Like looks really can be deceiving, man.
They can. It is what it is. But we have to be able to look and understand it. And you talked about your brain and your heart, right? And we take it. If you're gonna take one, take the other. But there's one that people usually miss, and usually it's 99. No, it's like 100% on point. Is your gut. If you don't know, if you can't trust your brain and you can't trust your heart, just go with your gut. because your gut will tell you like, ding, 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 ding. And people say, "Oh, I got butterflies in my stomach." Those were no butterflies.
Those
That
are
was
the
a warning.
butterflies.
It's like warning, warning, warning. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's kind of like,
yeah. If your gut is telling you something, well, women have that more in tune than guys do. We have it kind of, we're just kind of dumb on that in that aspect because we're not well equipped for the intuitive aspect of it. But you guys really got that one up on us where like it's so in tune. You just know when something ain't right. It's just not fitting. You're just like,
are you guys really not in tune, or you are programmed to think that you shouldn't listen to it, or you not even look at it?
I think we're not in tune. And the reason why I say we're not in tune is because we think logically. We don't think primarily emotionally.
Do you really think logically?
Yes, absolutely. I look at things from a logical aspect. I try not to. I try not to. I try to be like, understanding, empathetic because it requires emotion. But I have to catch myself and look at things for what I see, not what I feel. Because a lot of the times when we feel a certain way, it shifts our perception of what we see. And I do my best to not allow that to happen. And that has helped me nowadays distinguish what's good for me and what's not good for me
Mm-hmm.
in conjunction with having boundaries. I think that's super important too for everybody, especially if you're dating over 30. Like you got to have boundaries, man, and you got to know how to say no. That's a big one.
Everybody should have boundaries. I think they should start earlier, because if you get into that pattern of not having boundaries, it's going to be difficult to actually
Yes.
make boundaries and put boundaries, because now it's just like, but you weren't like that before, or you weren't like that with this person, and you weren't. And it's just like, yeah, okay, back it up a second. Who cares what
Yeah,
the
yeah.
hell that was? This is what it is. Because at that time, it's like you're compromising your boundaries, which you should never compromise your boundaries, because you're trying to compromise to be in a relationship, whether it's business, whether it's person, whatever the type of business it is, relationship it is, you're compromising, but you should never compromise your boundaries.
So let me ask you this. Some of us tend to put our boundaries in a rank of non-negotiables. And it kind of takes away the idea of compromise. So one thing I've learned from the last person I was dating is that I had from the person I was married to before that, after the divorce, I dated and stuff. I learned a lot about myself and in
Mm-hmm.
that relationship before. And then with the person I dated, I learned that compromise is super important. When two people compromise, it makes things a lot better. But if two people are stuck in their boundaries and they enforce their boundaries as non-negotiables, that's also one of those things that makes it difficult for someone to build a connection with one another.
I think those are two completely different things.
Well,
Um,
sorry.
Non-negotiables and boundaries.
Well, what I'm saying, I don't know if you heard me, is like saying that people like look at non-negotiables in the ranks of, I'm sorry, boundaries in the ranks of the same rank as non-negotiable. Like it's really enforced, like everything. They can't take away a few things, and like I said, rigid or bendable. People are just so rigid that they're not going to compromise, and
Well, it
that's what I'm,
depends
you
on
know,
what the boundary is.
yeah.
For instance,
Mhm.
like a boundary as don't be disrespectful to me, like don't push me, don't hit me. But then one time you hit me and it's just like, oh well, that's okay. And it's like, no, you just completely opened up a whole can of worms. Like that's not acceptable, because
Yeah,
now it's like, well, I already did it once, so that means I can do it again, and I can do it again, and I can do it again. No, and non-negotiable is like, yo, dude, like no. And it goes for both men and women. You are not putting your hands on me. You are not going to speak down to me. You are not going to do this. I don't care if you were drinking, if you were high, whatever the heck it is
yeah, yeah.
not acceptable. We're done. Like that's it. And now the boundary it's completely different, as far as when you compromise with somebody, you are doing something that maybe you normally wouldn't, but it's not a deal breaker. It's kind of like, you know what? I really don't like going out late. You like to go out late. I really don't like it. We can do it once in a while. Let's just go, and we're together. We're having a good time and stuff like that. But to make it like a non-negotiable, that's completely extreme.
Well, can I share something with you with also with that? I think that those are things like to not hit me or not like be disrespectful. That's like just moral code.
Some people don't have it.
A lot of people don't have it nowadays.
Mhm.
There's no moral values. They don't really carry a lot because I'm not even gonna make a blanket statement on that one. I'm just saying a lot of them don't have moral code,
Mhm.
and moral code is just it's just like common sense. It's like you don't hit somebody. You don't have to have that as a boundary. Just don't do it. You know what I mean? So like when I have boundaries are not in the extreme sense. It's
Mhm.
outside of the moral code where like, okay, I don't like it when say I'm with somebody. I don't like it when we argue in front of my kids. That's a
Mhm.
boundary. And also too, we have to reinforce our boundaries. And a lot of us don't do that.
Mhm.
We kind of let things slide and be like, okay, well, they're just having a bad day or whatever. But then people take advantage of you.
Mhm.
And that happens all the time where like someone's love for a person or a guy loves his girl or a girl loves her guy and he's just treating her like dirt and she's using the idea of love of unconditional love as an excuse to let him get away with it.
It's unfortunate because now, with everything that's happened in life and my observation with everything, we've lowered everything to bare minimum. So anybody who does just a little bit more than a bare minimum, it's like, oh my gosh, this person is like the best. Oh my gosh, this woman. Oh my god, you know what I mean? And it's just like, dude, like really, he just opened the door. Like I don't understand what you know what I mean? Like you can it's gotten to the point where the bare minimum, like we can't even get the bare minimum. And if we get the bare minimum, it's just like a little bit more than, oh my gosh, like we're so in love. And it's just like, and then somebody else is like, seriously, that's what you're celebrating about? Like, no, it's not. And if you don't want that, then it's okay for you to be like, thank you so much. We are just not compatible. You know, we're cool, but we're not compatible. And we have to realize that before you get to a point where now you guys can't even be friends. It's kind of like iffy about like, oh, but nowadays everybody's so convinced that the bare minimum is acceptable that we don't expect much. And the fact that we can no longer expect much, we're setting ourselves back and we no longer want what we deserve because it's the bare minimum. So it's kind of like, oh, okay. It's like, oh, you know, a car has a bare minimum 4 tires, so I guess I got to be happy. But one's a donut, so it's like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna get very far, am I? Got 20 more miles on that. I mean, like it's like you got to really
It's
think
so
about it.
but everybody's bare minimum is different too.
Well, let me
And
tell you, I'm pretty sure that no matter what kind of donut you have in your car, that car ain't gonna last. And that's exactly the way it is. Everybody's bare minimum is different.
it's different, yeah.
However,
So like
it's gonna
somebody
expire.
your bare minimum might be high for some other person. And this kind of I want to go back to the whole love language, the whole relationship aspect or the dating aspect is that sometimes it's like one person can appreciate you more than another.
Of course.
And I love seeing that with people. That makes me happy because it's like, one person might look at you as bare minimum for them, and that's okay.
Hmm.
Like let's go into the rejection aspect of this whole thing, where just because one person rejected you doesn't mean that some other person is not going to appreciate you.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that because I feel like that's where the hope is, the realistic hope that somebody will understand your love language. Let's go back to the love language too. Is that a love language is if you can speak to someone's love language, you can override their standards all day long. It'll
Hmm.
override everything.
Yeah.
And if that person feels loved the way they want to be loved, understood the way they want to be understood, it's like it just fits. Everything just fits.
Hmm.
And it becomes less effort for both people to do that. And that's why I say to either a girl or guy coaching is that just because you haven't found someone now doesn't mean you're not going to find someone later. But you can't stay still. You can't stay in your house waiting for love to just knock on your door and go, "Hey, I'm here." You have
No,
to get out.
you definitely don't stay home.
Yeah, yeah,
But there's some people that need to stay home so they can heal and
yeah.
get through and understand what happened, what they allowed, what they saw in this person that really wasn't. Because there are similarities there.
Mhm.
You see one yellow car and you think it's that yellow car, but guess what? It's two different brands. Like if you have a Lexus and a Toyota, they have the same body style, and then you look at it and you're like, oh, well, it was this one, but I thought it was this one. Hey, and it's a mistake. But you know what? Now you take a step back and you're like, but that's not the one I wanted. And we weren't compatible because it didn't have this and it didn't have that. So now you know. But the only way you're going to be able to know is if you take a step back and you give
Hmm.
yourself and allow yourself and give yourself permission to go through the whole process of understanding and reflecting, and then go and do your research and do whatever the heck you want to do. But always allow yourself to heal.
Hmm.
Always allow yourself
Absolutely.
to reflect, because if not, you're going to go into the next one the same. And the thing is, back in the days, dating meant something. Whereas dating, in my the way I see it, dating is now more like back in the days when you were talking and you were hanging
Mhm.
out with people. Whereas dating now is the equivalent of that. So you've got different age groups that think of one thing, and you're like, oh, well, you're dating this person, which means you're dating this person because it's the potential of it being something. Do you know? I don't know. But you got to get to know the person, and you got to, date them. But a lot of times people want to date 50 different people, and they want to do all this stuff. And then you're really not giving yourself the opportunity to actually get to know this person. Because what are you really going to, let's say you're talking to like 25 people. I don't know. So that means in a month, you're really investing maybe 5 hours, because if you're talking to 25 people, that means you're splitting everything up, and now you got to go on dates 25 days out of the month. And you know what I mean? Like you've only dated really this person just one day. And what did you really understand, and what did you get from this person? So at that point, are you really dating? Because you're really not. It's just the interpretation of what that is. Okay?
You ever heard of the book, The Paradox of Choice?
No, but have you mentioned that to me once before?
No, I think everybody should take some time to read it. It talks about the illusion of quantity versus quality,
Hmm.
and how when we think we have more options, we think we have quality. And that's not really the case at all. When you get more options, it makes it harder and more confusing to decide. It makes it harder to decide. So if you're dating 25 different people, it'll drive you mentally crazy, because you got to figure out and remember who the hell's who, and then you got to hear them text you or call you all the time. So like it becomes more inconvenience than it's worth. So if you limit your quantity down to a you know manageable sense, where like, okay, I'll talk to 5% people and date those 5 people. I don't know if I worded that right. Sorry. I date those 5 people and then just leave it at that, because it's less confusing, because you can keep track of them all. And that sounded like such a puto thing to say. God, keep track of them all. Sorry. Sorry. Um, it just makes it easier for you to narrow down quality. But if you have 25 people, you're going to be like, screw them all. I don't even want to talk to them. I'm aggravated. There's just too many text messages coming to my house, like coming to my phone every 5 seconds of the day. Like a lot of the time we overwhelm ourselves
Yeah.
with more than we can chew. Like we bite off more than we can chew.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's a great book though. Paradox of Choice.
Yeah, I'll look into it. I hope they have an audio, because I really don't have the time to sit and read. I have to drive and hear it, or work and do all that stuff. But then again, also it takes away from actually appreciating it when you don't read it. You know what I mean? Like, so we always lose something
Yeah.
nowadays because of convenience. We're always losing a little bit, and that's one thing that we need to make sure that we don't lose in our relationships and our businesses or anything that we have. Is just because, like, for instance, I'm compromising reading that book to the audio, I have to understand that I am going to be losing something out of it. I'm not going to be able to absorb it the way I want to. I'm going to have to listen to this audiobook like maybe like 3 4 times to actually get the full effect of it. So it's kind of like, what is it that we really, what's
Well,
important?
it also, if you stop and think about it, you could apply that same principle to what you do all day.
Hmm.
If you take in 20 different tasks, the odds of you doing it optimally
Hmm.
is like slim to none.
It's horrible.
It's like
Horrible.
I love the web browser analogy. Like your brain's like a web browser. If you got like 30 tabs open,
Mine has 100.
okay. But you know what I mean? Like if you got 100, right?
It's
The
bad.
the probability of you either finishing the test or even optimally getting them like functional is like really hard because we
Right.
can only process one thought at a time. Even though some people are like, oh, I multitask, but the brain doesn't work that way. It only does it one thought at a time, but the body mechanistically can multitask unconsciously. So that's more habit than it is us consciously going, oh, I can
The
multitask.
muscle
No,
memory.
yeah, the muscle memory, like the
Mm-hmm.
brain and the body coming together. And consciously, though, we can only process so much at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
it makes it really difficult when what I was in neuroscience class and they talked about something called the refractory period, where we take on a lot of processes and your neurotransmitters eventually get exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
They spark, the exhibitories, they spark and spark and spark, then eventually get tired
Mm-hmm.
and they shut down. And that's when like your brain just shuts down and you're so exhausted, you're so fatigued that all you have left to do functionally is sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you need it.
And you need it. You need it. And I think that's also important too, is the what is called the importance of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That helps you function on everything. Like it helps your body function so much better.
So, Hector, before we conclude, what would you like to share for people to either get involved in why they should have a dating relationship coach?
If I was to give anything like a message to anybody watching this right now is that don't let your pride or your ego, it's okay to ask for help. Don't let your pride or your ego take over. We're only human. And in order to get ahead, we got to get ahead working together. If we do it by ourselves, it's just going to make things more difficult. So that's my message to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And if they want to get a hold of you, how can they reach you?
Uh, Facebook, that's like the best one I got right now. So if you have any questions, just message me on Facebook and I will respond in a timely manner.
What is your name on Facebook?
Hector Cruz Jr.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hector. I really appreciate your time. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Thank you.